Hi Stampers, it's Madeline from stampinwithmadeline.stampinup.net, and today we're going to be doing an amazing card. So this is going to be a technique video, and we're going to be making the Pop and Twist greeting card. This really wows people, and they would love to receive it in the mail. And yes, it is a little bit of work, but I promise I am going to make it super easy for you and super easy to make so that you can get going on these and send them out to all your friends for happy spring, which I hope is right around the corner. Okay, so this is a Pop and Twist card. So in my last video, we made the sponging technique of the front with high tide, and now we're going to be making this really fun greeting card. So are you ready? I am. Let's get started. What you're going to need is decide what two colors you want to use for your card. I am using Dapper Denim and Soft Sky. You also will need to pick out a piece of DSP. You'll only be using a little strip of it, but it'll be in the inside on these squares and also the backgrounds. So you could do a white background and DSP or both DSP and put colors over it, but I like putting the DSP up here and white down here so I can write a message. The first thing you're going to need is your cutting device. So let me get this out here. All right, the other supplies that you're going to need is some kind of scoring tool. So if you have Stampin' Up's cutter, which is on the way for me, you'll have a scoring tool right inside your cutting device. For me, I am using my bone folder. You will need a pencil and you will need some scissors. The first step is we're going to be making the base of the card. So the base of the card is going to be in Dapper Denim, and what we're going to do is cut this at 4 1/4. So you want it to be 4 1/4 by 11. So it's going to be long and narrow. All right, and set this aside. You're going to need it in just a second. So you'll want to score this. This is very thick cardstock, so you don't want it to, it doesn't look as professional unless you score it and fold it, because it'll get kind of bent up and ruined. So fold it down neatly. This makes it easy too because it's already all ready for you to be folded. Use your bone folder just to kind of make this so it's nice and flat. Okay, so that's it for that part. All right, for the DSP, for the inside squares, you need it at 2 1/2 by 2 1/2. So 2 1/2. Set this aside, you'll need it in just a second. Then these are going to be at 2 1/2 too. So you're going to need 4 pieces of DSP that are all at 2 1/2 by 2 1/2. So we're just getting everything ready for when we're at the point to put the card together. We'll have everything cut and ready for us to use. Okay, so you can set these aside too at the base of the card. You don't need them yet. So now this other piece of Dapper Denim that was cut off from your base, this is going to be the pop-up panel that these are for inside the card. So we're going to cut out this part next. So use that extra Dapper Denim that you cut out from the base, and this is going to be 2 3/4 by 11. So you already have 11, so you're going to cut it at 2 3/4. Okay, so now you have that. Now with this cut piece, you'll want to score. So follow along with me. We are going to score this at 2 3/4. 5 1/2. And 8 1/4. So this again is making that whole pop-up panel that you're going to see when you open the card. So if you can see that it's all even squares, then you just want to fold each of these and use a bone folder or a ruler to make it so that they are nice and neat and flat, so that when you make the card, it'll be very professional looking. Okay, and set that aside. Next, we're going to be making the whole contraption that's in the inside here that makes it so you're able to make this pop and fold card. I'm going to be using the Soft Sky, and there's not much cutting with this. All you need to do is make it so it's 10 3/4 by 8 1/2. So you're going to get this on the 11th side, you're going to cut it to 10 3/4. So it's just going to take off a little sliver of paper there. And that's it. That is 10 3/4 by 8 1/2. And that's what we're going to need to start the next project. So now what we're going to do, there's going to be a lot of scoring on this, but please just follow with me. I promise it is not torture. We will get through it together. So what you want to do is you want to score it on the 10 3/4 side. You want to score it at 5 3/8. So I'm on the 10 3/4 side, and we're going to score it at 5 3/8. So you want to put the paper at 5 and then count the eighths. 1, 2, 3. And you're going to score it right down the middle. You want to make sure you are definitely on the 10 3/4 side because that's the important part. Now we are flipping it. So now we are on the 8 1/2 side. So we're going to be scoring at 3 different places on this, okay? So the first one is going to be 2 1/4. So 2 1/4. Score it all the way down. Next line, we're going to be going to 4 1/4. Score it all the way down again. Next, the last one, 6 1/4. Score it all the way down. All right. Now what you want to do with this is it'll look like this. Looks like 8 little bookmarks. We're going to be folding it on that 5 3/8 score line, and we're flattening it out. Okay, now get your pencil out. Now you're going to take this piece. The folded side is here. We are going to put it in there and get it at the 1 inch. 1 inch. So on the this is the folded side. You're at the 1 inch mark. You're going to take a pencil and just mark it a little bit on the top and the bottom. Just make a tiny line, okay? So at the 1 inch mark, we're making pencil marks at the top and the bottom, just a little dot on both sides. Now, we're going to move it in to 1 1/4. When we move to 1 1/4, close your cutting contraption so that it's holding it. You want to mark it at the score lines that we did at 2 1/4 and 6 1/4. So the easy way to look at this is the top score line and the last score line is what you want to make the dots at. You don't want to make a dot at the middle one. So right where the score line is, I'm making a dot, just a little one. Same thing on the bottom score line. Nothing to the middle score line. So you got it to 1 1/4. You closed your cutting contraption. You put a dot at the top score line and the bottom score line. Nothing on the middle. Okay, and then you're taking it out. Now what you want to do is that it's very light to see on here. Let me bring it up to you. So what you're going to do is you're going to be connecting these 2 pencil lines that you made right here and right here. You want these to be connected. So you'll need a ruler, and we're going to be drawing a line to connect these. It's going to be a crooked line, and that's okay, but you need to be as exact as you can. So make sure you can see the dots that you made, because this is an important part of the card. And then we're just going to make a line. It'll look like that. Now the other side, line up your 2 dots. There we go. Now, what you're going to do is you want to cut out this whole part. So from the pencil line and down is what you're going to cut out. Let me show you. So you're going to cut along this score line and then along this pencil line. All right, and then on the other side. All right, so now what you're going to have is like a soft sky t-shirt. All right, so that is all the cutting we are going to do for right now. If you need to trim it up to make it so that the sides are even, now is the time to do that. All right, now this is what we're going to do. You're going to open up your t-shirt. All right, so it looks like this. What you want to do is you want this line to go to this line. Okay, so we're going to have to maneuver this like this in order to get this line to mesh with this line. So you're folding it up, lining up the two lines so they are perfectly perpendicular, straight together, and then you are flattening it. When you're sure that it's straight, you're going to flatten the card, okay? And then use your bone folder. And you want to make sure this really gets nicely flat. All right? So look at that, straight together. Now you're going to open it up. See how it's starting to make an X here? Now you're going to do it on the other side. So line up this line with this line. You're taking the sleeve of the t-shirt, lining it up with this bottom line. Once you know it's straight, flatten it down and use your bone folder. Make sure it's nice and flat. All right, so now you've made an X. And look, it's nice and center. This is a very important part of your card. You can always refold if you need to because we're going to cover everything up with paper. So that is your center line. So now what you want to do is maneuver these sleeves in so that they touch each other. So when you start to fold it together, they'll start to go in. You want to line up these two squares so that they're nice and even. Hold it down and flatten these parts out. It's a very thick card, but if you use your bone folder and really make an effort at flattening it, going in these creases and flattening it, it'll make it so that it closes much easier. So now you can see those two sleeves are together. That's what you want. You want them to be nice and together and even. And that is what will happen by getting that nice centered X when we did the last step. All right, we're almost there. So now we have the contraption that's going to make it easy to make this pop and twist card. All right, the next step is going to be our accordion that we made, the 4 squares, okay? So what you want this to be is you want there to be a mountain in the middle. So when you're putting it in the card, you want this to be the point that's looking out at people. So what I mean by that is when you're putting it, this is going to be the bottom, okay? So what you want to do is you want to have the mountain point here, close it up, twist it so the mountain is pointing down towards you, and put it in the card like this. Okay, you just want like a little, like you want it centered, and you want about a 1/2 inch showing underneath, but it's okay, just eyeball it. Now, hold it there, and this is where you want to pay attention. We have to attach this into the card. So we have to put a little bit of adhesive on this part of the sleeve. So the bottom part is where you want to put the adhesive. Okay, I'm just going to put a strip. So a little bit up from the bottom of it. Okay. Center your accordion square again and put this down so that it sticks to it. Now, you want to do the same thing up here, okay? So you're going to put a little bit of adhesive on the top part of the sleeve, not the bottom part of the sleeve, the top part. Just put a little strip. Now, when it closes, you attach it to that. There we go. Okay, so now there is your pop and twist card. Okay, so now, before we put it into the base of the card, this is a very important step. It's very hard to get a piece of DSP that is exactly measured to this by trying to measure something. So it's hard to get a piece that fits in here. So what I do is I take my designer series paper that I want in there, and I actually trace it. So I put this down, and I trace it. You will have to make some adjustments because you want it to be a little bit smaller so that the background color shows up. But you're just going to be tracing these and cutting them out. I would trace them differently for each side because they do differ a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to trace and now cut this out and then attach it in there So just cut it out. Now, what you're going to do is just take, you're going to be taking just 1/8 of each side off. So like the bottom, take 1/8 off. You can always take more off if you need, but let's start with 1/8. On each side, you're going to take just 1/8 off. That way you can see the background color when you attach it in there. So now we're going to look at how it looks. Okay, I think that we need to take a little bit more off the bottom. So I'm going to take another 1/8 off the bottom. There we go. I like that. Okay, so then you're going to take your adhesive and just attach it into the card. You want to do this just so you get the right DSP on the right side so that it looks nice and even. Okay, there is that. Now we're going to do the other side. So you want to trace the other side that you haven't put it on yet. So line it up, trace it, and cut it out. Okay, so as we saw from the last one, I want to take off 2/8, so it's 1/4 off the bottom, and then still take just 1/8 off each side. Okay. Let's see how it looks in there. So for this one, I'm doing both sides DSP, but like I said before, you could do white on one side, so you could write a message, but I'm going to put the message on the pop-up. Just line this up in here so it's nice and even. There we go. Okay, so now we have the pop-up card with the DSPs in the back. Now, the 4 squares that you cut out earlier, you want to attach those in there too. So all these, we're just going to attach them into these squares. Now, you could have done this beforehand if you want to, but I just do it once it's in here. Doesn't need too much adhesive to stick in there. As long as you're using permanent adhesive, you'll be fine with just a little bit. Now, you want to kind of line up these DSP squares as you go so that they look like they're conjoining. You have a very fishy card. All right, so now we're going to close it. And we're going to use our bone folder and just again, really flatten these out. Again, it's going to be a thick card, so don't worry about it if it's not doing exactly what you think it should. All right, now we're going to attach it into the card. So you want to line this up so that a little Dapper denim is coming out of each side, and you want the point a little bit lower than the crease of your base card. That way it won't get stuck when someone's opening it. All right, so again, put some adhesive on, line it up, get the point a little bit below, make sure everything's straight, and close it. Okay, now on the other side, adhesive, and close. Look at that. All right, now all that's left is putting on our front page. So this is going to be our front of the card. So just put adhesive on the back, line it up so it's right in the middle of your card. Push it down. Look at that. I really love this card. So again, you could add things in here. You could change it up. It doesn't need to be all DSP. I just did that for this card. So you could put like white squares here and do stamping. Let me show you what I did in my previous one. I put white down here for a message, DSP up here, and then I did a little sentiment in here and did like different birds. on the other one. So it's really up to you. I like this one just because I love the fishies. The outside's pretty dark, so I wanted to make it nice and cheery on the inside. So it's really all up to you and what you want your card to look like. But these are the two that I've made. So just a really fun card that everyone loves to get. And like I said, if you write down the instructions, like I've written down bullet points, then it's easy to go through. You can make a bunch of them at once. That way you have them all ready to go and just not decorate them till you're ready. That's a perfect idea, especially if you're getting ready for Christmas or if you're a demonstrator and you're getting ready for a club or a party. What I've done is I cut all the bases, all the insides, and all of these banners, the pop-up part, and I don't do anything. I just keep it in a little kit, and so that when I'm ready, then I can start putting them together or getting the DSP ready for them or whatnot. So even though it looks very scary and looks like a card that would take so much time for you to make, you really can make it in a flash. Just writing down the instructions and going from there. So I really hope that you loved this video. I love these cards. I hope you do too. Please give me a thumbs up if you like the video. Add a comment. I love the conversation that continues after. Please subscribe to my channel. I'm going to have lots of new catalog cards that I'm going to be demonstrating for you. I'll be demonstrating a few more sponging technique front of the cards. So please subscribe so that you get first access to those. My website again is stampinwithmadelyn.stampinup.net. If you're looking for a demonstrator, I would love to help you, so please reach out to me. And for now, keep stamping, Stampers. Bye!